Welcome to Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only LGBTQ daily news show broadcasting live and available on demand on your favorite streaming channels.
Analytics company vidIQ has certified the Queer News Tonight YouTube channel as the world's most popular LGBTQ streaming news show. Our queer stories have reached more than 10 million views.
We are proud that Queer News Tonight has more YouTube subscribers than any other LGBTQ brand in Florida. We thank you for watching and supporting our voice in the LGBTQ community. There is no other news program in the LGBTQ world like Queer News Tonight.
It is Wednesday, July 2nd. We are live and literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we tell this evening on Queer News Tonight.
You're watching Queer News Tonight, the world's first daily LGBTQ evening news show.
Welcome to the world's most important LGBTQ evening news show. Hotspots Magazine, Happening Out Television Network, is a nonprofit 501c3 media company in the same model as PBS and NPR, but designed for the LGBTQ community.
Our nonprofit mission, is to support the 11 pillars of our LGBTQ community. We want to inform and educate the key issues of lesbian, trans, Latino, Black, healthcare, seniors, students, faith, social justice, business, and queer culture. Help us support our diverse community. We are part of one of the largest LGBTQ nonprofit media companies in America, Hotspots Magazine and Happening Out Television Network.
In 2025, our magazine is celebrating 40 years of the LGBTQ experience, and Queer News Tonight is celebrating our 5th anniversary with more than 10,000 LGBTQ television stories. We present Pride Fete in August, and we declare that love is in the air with Pride Fort Lauderdale on Valentine's Day, February 14th. Our magazine, events, television news, talk, and entertainment shows support our mission to educate the LGBTQ and broader communities.
In 2025, more than 100 community leaders will sit at this table and share their voices as our anchors. Together, we host this show to support the LGBTQ community. Let's meet this evening's anchors and Queer News Tonight. Let's welcome anchor Gregg Shapiro, an inductee into the Chicago LGBT Hall of Fame. Gregg is the entertainment journalist whose celebrity interviews and reviews run in a variety of regional LGBTQ publications and websites. Gregg, Torch Song to light up the Foundry stage on multiple dates until August 31st. Tell me, what's happening out?
The Foundry will present Torch Song, Harvey Fierstein's iconic 2-act revival, through multiple dates and times until August 31st. This heartwarming drama follows Arnold Beckoff, a Jewish drag queen in 1970s and 1980s New York, on his journey to find love, family, and respect. Audiences will witness his struggle for identity and acceptance, culminating in an emotional visit from his strong-willed mother. Presented with humor and heart, the production will draw theater lovers from across the city. Ticket buyers who purchase Torch Song will gain priority access to the Boys in the Band at Richardson Park. Terms and conditions for this, along with ticket purchase, are available on TicketTailor.com. Torch Song, which is the significantly revised version of Harvey Fierstein's groundbreaking and beloved play Torch Song trilogy, is a theatrical masterpiece. I think most people can agree on that. And how fortunate for SoFlo theater goers to have the chance to see this remarkable piece of queer theater.
And even more important, if you buy the tickets now, you get a 2 for 1.
Quite a deal.
By getting to see Boys in the Band, and another astonishing play.
And not only that, you're supporting local theater and community theater, which always brings a lot of great, things to stage for the first time, or revisiting that a lot of the bigger, companies won't do because they're like, it's already been done. But you really get to see it in a very intimate setting, which is always even more, fulfilling when you're dealing with, topics like this. So Queer News Tonight looks forward to seeing you at Torch Song at the Foundry stage. That is a big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our local LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight. let's welcome anchor Buddy Frey. He supports many of South Florida's local nonprofit organizations like Julian's Fountain of Youth and the Stonewall National Library Museum. Buddy, South Florida heats up with Club Low Key every Tuesday. Tell me, what's happening out?
Well, as you said, every Tuesday, Club Low Key will transform Hollywood Live restaurant and lounge into one of South Florida's hottest LGBTQ destinations. The event will kick off each Tuesday at 4 p.m. with an all-gender happy hour featuring food and drink specials. As night falls, the venue will shift into the full party mode, offering music, dance, and top-shelf spirits in a vibrant, inclusive space. Located in Hollywood, Florida, the event is set to become a go-to safe space for the queer community. Entry will be free for ladies and trans women before midnight, excluding concert nights. Tickets start at $25 and are now available on Eventbrite. I mean, it sounds like a wonderful event, although I'm questioning the free for all ladies. But
I mean, I love the fact that we're having queer safe spaces outside of the bubble of Wilton Manors, which I think is so very important for us right now. I actually don't mind the ladies' night because there's a lot of times that, queer ladies and trans women don't feel safe going to
and you're right about that. I never thought about that.
Spaces. So the fact that they get a free ladies night, they also sometimes don't feel safe in our predominantly male gay nightclubs in Wilton Manors either. So I think it's really great, and I love the fact that Hollywood is really, as a city, has been stepping up with a lot of queer events and a lot of queer inclusive spaces.
Yeah, as I said on last night's show, I prefer social clubs that are hidden and clubs that are low key. I like that idea too. Mm-hmm. And I agree about Hollywood. We should extend our gratitude to them for becoming the queerest place between Miami and Fort Lauderdale Wilton Manors.
Absolutely. And Queer News Tonight looks forward to seeing you at Club Low Key every Tuesday. That is a big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight.
And of course, let's welcome tonight's lead anchor, Rex Rogosch. Rex Rogosch is a visionary designer with more than 30 years of experience in product design, interior design, and architecture. Also known in the drag community as International Lords, Rex recently returned to performing. As president and co-founder of Lantera, he champions mental health awareness through vibrant, inclusive events. Rex, Hot Spring Shark Attack invades Coral Gables, July 9th. Tell us what's happening out.
Well, Coral Gables Art Cinema will screen Hot Spring Shark Attack on Wednesday, July 9th at 9 p.m. as part of its After Hours series. Directed by Morihito Aniu, the film shows a small Japanese town battling a reawakened ancient shark terrorizing its hot springs. The action-packed thriller, which won the Audience Award at the Tokyo International Film Festival, promises late-night thrills and cult classic energy. Tickets will cost $5 for after-hours members, $8 for cinema members, and $11.75 for non-members. Attendees can expect an unforgettable cinematic experience. Details and membership info are available at gablescinema.com. I mean, look, I love cult classics. I love little underground movies. I mean, for $11.75, why not?
Yeah.
We live in Florida, so the idea of shark attacks probably wasn't the best theme. But look, we're always looking for other things to do, and it's a mindless night, right? You can go have some fun, get outside the city, see some other cultural events, and and just have a good time. And for $11.75, why not?
Well, it looks like a fun way of expanding the celebration of the 50th anniversary of Steven Spielberg's Jaws.
Exactly.
Also, I think the moral of this story is that everyone should think twice before ordering shark fin soup. Queer News Tonight looks forward to seeing you at the Hot Spring Shark Attack screening on July 9th. That is a big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight.
Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Rex Rogosch, and let's queer up the USA view. Pete Buttigieg tops new poll for 2028 Democratic nod. In a political shakeup that's making headlines coast to coast, former Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg has emerged as the early frontrunner for the 2028 Democratic presidential nomination. According to a new National Emerson College poll, Buttigieg holds 16% support among likely Democratic primary voters, putting him ahead of former Vice President Kamala Harris at 13% and California Governor Gavin Newsom at 12%. It's a remarkable turnaround from just 7 months ago when Harris commanded 37% in the same poll. The LGBTQ community may feel a familiar sense of pride watching Buttigieg, the first openly gay cabinet secretary confirmed by the Senate, once again make history. Analysts say Buttigieg's rise isn't just about policy chops. His cultural fluency and emotional candor have resonated with younger and more diverse voters. On a recent episode of Flagrant, he opened up about parenting, race, military service, and political burnout, a glimpse into a campaign likely to blend intellect with authenticity. In June, he drew national attention for condemning the violent detainment of California Senator Alex Padilla during a Los Angeles press conference. Earlier this year, he declined Michigan State Run to spend more time with his husband Chasten and their children Penelope and Gus. But insiders say his sights are clearly on 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. The race is still wide open. 23% of Democrats remain undecided. But for now, Mayor Pete is leading the pack and the rainbow wave may rise once again. I mean, it's nice to see these polls. I think it's way too early. We've got way too many other things that we're dealing with in politics to think clearly about this position. I mean, would it be amazing to see an openly queer candidate on the Democratic ticket? Sure. I honestly still don't think with our political climate as it is today that it is probably smart, because I think we would be shooting ourselves in the foot.
That's right. Well, as an Emerson College alum, I love to hear the name of my alma mater in a news story on Queer News Tonight. That said, I think it is idealistic and unrealistic to think that between the hateful Heritage Foundation and the MAGA millions, that this country will ever elect an intelligent, eligible, reasonable, and capable gay man as president. Certainly not one more suitable for the job than the orange orifice currently occupying the office.
Mango Mussolini.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think right now you made the valid point that I was going to try and make. It's just too bleeping early to worry about polls. I think at this point with all the gossip and the rumors, I'm getting exhausted with the gossip and the rumors about the Democratic Party is this and is that and is this. Okay, let's just pull together the right pool of people. Pool, meaning make the table as big as possible with the right candidates. Let's not start divvying up who's leading and who's not, because it's too soon. We don't know what's going to happen next month with Donald. So what are we worried about 3.5 years from now? I'm trying to get through the next 6 months, and I have political burnout, and I'm just trying to get through this year. But I think right now, I think it's important to know that he and Kamala, you know, as you saw on the list of names there, it's an honorable and a strong list of people that are all working to try and lead. And that's what I think we need to do as a party. We need to start talking about where's the party going and not worry about who's on first, who's on second, what's on third.
Too early.
It's just too damn early.
Absolutely. And it's also going to be very interesting to see how these candidates over the next couple of years really do either stand up or sit down, where they really, you know, put their foot down, where they open their mouths, where they put into action. I think that's going to be telling. I mean, I'm glad to hear that younger people are taking notice. I mean, that is definitely something that we need as the younger, you know, generation to say, hey, this is enough. We are affected because, you know, as they're now getting into college or getting out into the workforce, they're starting to realize that politics does affect them. It's affected them since they were in middle school. However, it's now starting to become a little more relevant to them.
And they can vote. They can have their voices heard.
Correct. But yeah, I think we're a little soon. I'm happy for them, and I'm glad to see that, you know, Pete is up there. But, you know, let's just keep an eye on it and let's not get complacent. Let's be hopeful and look towards the future.
But let's also learn to reach out to our allies. Let's make that Let's reach across the table. Let's reach out to as many different groups. And then, I mean, that's the one benefit of the current administration is they're making the groups that much more identifiable faster, and making those groups that thought they were part of the MAGA group and the love fest over there, realizing that they were just used and abused, that maybe we should be working on building bridges and, and reaching out and building unity.
Absolutely, because you bring up a good point. A lot of the MAGA people, they're like, oh, we've been sideswiped and we've been backlash, but yet they still at the last minute still vote and go towards the MAGA because they're too scared. And they don't think they have support from the other side.
Right.
So I think it's a great point that we do need to start building, not mending bridges, but actually building bridges.
And I need to point out, because I know a lot of work with and have family members that are Republicans, MAGA Republicans, and I keep saying they love the word conservative. Well, I think they need to define the word conservative, because conservative doesn't mean what it's being used for today. Conservative means you have a very common sense, business-like approach to the world. Well, what's going on right now is neither common sense nor business-like.
It's extremism.
Yeah, and it's fascism. Yeah. So we need to maintain that, and the Democrats need to, as a whole, needs to come together and start identifying that and re-educating people.
Absolutely. Well, that is a big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight.
Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Gregg Shapiro. Let's queer up business. LGBTQ entrepreneurs are on the rise, and they're leading with heart. There's a wave of new business energy sweeping across the country, and it's proudly rainbow-hued. A new report from Gusto finds that 10% of all new business owners in 2024 identified as queer, marking the highest percentage ever recorded. That's a 50% jump from last year, and it aligns with broader demographic shifts. According to Gallup, 9.3% of U.S. adults now identify as LGBTQ, up from 7.6% in 2023. What's driving this rise? The report notes that more LGBTQ people are seeing fewer barriers to entrepreneurship and are choosing it as an accessible and viable path to make a living. Younger generations are leading the charge. Gen Z and millennials made up a whopping 70% of new LGBTQ business owners this year. And no surprise there, 28% of Gen Z adults identify as queer, compared to 16% of millennials, 7% of Gen X, and just 4% of boomers. But it's not just about making money. LGBTQ founders were 56% more likely than their non-LGBTQ peers to start a business to make a positive impact on their community. Over 1/3 of these businesses are in professional services, with the rest mostly in healthcare, retail, and hospitality. And they're taking care of their teams. New queer employers were 30% more likely to offer employee benefits, such as health insurance and retirement plans, than their straight and cisgender counterparts. The report concludes, quote, LGBTQ entrepreneurs are starting businesses with a clear sense of purpose. Their decisions around industry, motivation, and employee support reflect commitments to autonomy, equity, and community. Their growing presence in entrepreneurship is a sign that more people see business ownership as a viable and inclusive path, end quote. Now that's the kind of leadership we love to see. It is nice to hear that they are leading with heart. I only had a heart. A clear sense of purpose and making a positive impact on their community, unlike self-loathing homosexual and notorious prolapsed anus Peter Thiel. If these children are the future, and I sincerely hope they are, then maybe there's a chance for things to improve for LGBTQ folks. And yes, I did say prolapsed anus.
So I have a few things to say. So it's no surprise to me that the percentage of people keep going up that are saying that they're queer. Mm-hmm. I mean, the older generation would not say that they're queer.
Right.
And so that doesn't surprise me. So that I think is a falsity in the statistics, right? You know, because these are polls, right? The younger generation who is on TikTok, eBay, OnlyFans, those types of things, that to me is work. don't get me wrong, and you can make money from it and YouTube and all of those, but that is not entrepreneurship. That is trying to chase a quick buck. As somebody who owns and has run several companies and identifies as gay, it is satisfying to own your own business, especially when a lot of times we face backlash or discrimination in the corporate world and have for years. So again, it makes sense that people are saying, I'm going to start my own business because I can do better, I can be better, I can be open, and those types of things. I find it interesting that we think that this is on the uprise, because I guarantee you 10, 20% of the businesses that were started years ago were also queer owned. They just weren't out. So I think the true story about this is they're now more open and out, which is great. I think it's an amazing accomplishment, and it says something about what's happening, in our world. But I don't think it's rising.
I'm not sure, because I was reading this and doing a little research on the whole Gen X, Gen Z situation, and yes, I am the very last boomer of the world in terms of my age group. I'm a boomer by 2 weeks, according to the age definition. But I work as a middle management position in a corporation. I work with Gen Z, I work with Gen X, and I realize that the reason a lot of them are choosing to create jobs is not just the corporate mindset. It's also, they don't like to follow rules. They don't like to wait. They want to be rich tomorrow. And I am very proud of the fact that I do have a good crew of people working with me, especially the younger generation. But I constantly have to remind them that, look, you have to learn your craft and your skill and everything else, and there's life skills that will make you a better employee, or whatever you want, I want Gen Z and Gen X to be successful. I know they're going to be successful, but I want more definition on this survey, because entrepreneur is nothing. There's no real set definition in my mind. Like you said, it could be anything from TikTok to I'm selling stickers that I made on the craft machine in the corner, and I sold 50 of them today.
Right, absolutely.
I want more definition, because I want to see what the financials are of this company. How much profitability are they? Are they $200,000 a year sales? Do they have 5 employees with benefits? Or are we talking, I'm hiring the kid down the street to cut the lawns?
Right.
No, I want more clarity on this.
I agree. For me, entrepreneurship is definitely a lot more robust. I started a business. It was around for 12 and a half years. It employed people. It gave back to the community.
And that's the definition I want to see. I want to see I want to see the financial and the community reach.
Absolutely.
That's what I want to see. And I'm not trying to be down on the younger generations. I'm just saying that this particular poll didn't give me enough meat to go, what are you talking about?
I 100% could not agree more. And that is a big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight.
Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Buddy Frey, and let's queer up gay culture. Hate floods in after Mr. Gay West Virginia announces his participation in Strawberry Festival Parade. For nearly 83 years, the West Virginia Strawberry Festival in Buchanan has been a symbol of small-town charm, a springtime celebration of strawberries, community spirit, and Appalachian pride. But this year, amid the unusual fanfare of floats, marching bands, and parades, a storm of controversy casts a shadow over tradition. The uproar began when a local man proudly announced his role in the festival's grand feature parade. His title, Mr. Gay West Virginia, United States. He shared, "I just wanted to ride in the parade, wave to some friendly faces, and toss a little candy to smiling kids." But instead, his simple Facebook post was met with hate. His title, part of the Gay United States pageantry system, honors LGBTQ individuals for advocacy, leadership, and service, not just stage presence or style. He has volunteered for addiction support groups, built safe spaces for queer youth, and invested deeply in his community. But once the word gay entered the spotlight, that service was overshadowed by discrimination. Behind the scenes, festival board members messaged him with support, saying they were sorry and embarrassed, but he's calling for more than quiet sympathy. He says, quote, "It's not enough to sympathize from the sidelines. We need allies who are willing to stand up publicly and challenge hate. I'm not just a title. I'm a husband, a father, a neighbor, an uncle, and a proud West Virginian. I grew up being taught that Jesus Christ walked with the marginalized. I believe he would have walked with me too." To queer folks across Appalachia and beyond, he offers this reminder: representation matters. Equality is not a given, and the fight for visibility and dignity for joy is far from over. I mean, this is a strong story, but it's a real story. And I think if there's a silver lining in this, is this gives him the opportunity to educate and to make his presence known and to show his community that there's a far larger community that's not there.
Absolutely. I mean, typically, we talk about pride being visibility, but here's a primarily heterosexual festival where some young West Virginia. Let's talk about this. This is not like New York or LA. This is West Virginia. If some queer kids saw him in the parade, that's a huge
life-changing.
That is.
I also agree with him. I mean, the organizers of this event should and need to put out a public statement that everybody is welcome in this parade who are part of the community. And he's part of the community. And I know a little bit about the pageantry system, and they are right. I mean, just a little. I know for a fact, I mean, you have to go through interviews. They ask you about your, advocacy and what you're doing for your community, and you give them stories and you show them videos. So it's not just about looking pretty up on the stage. I mean, they really do look at everything. And so the fact that, he is representing the entire state in one of the largest and most well-known pageantry systems in the LGBT sector is a huge accomplishment among itself, just to have that title. And the community should be proud that they have somebody who's representing their state proudly.
But they also need to be educated, because obviously this is the first time any of them have been aware of this pageantry system.
Sure.
Any of them have been aware of anyone having a title from a man's perspective, because men don't participate in pageantry.
True.
Right.
Unless you're rodeo, and even then it's questionable.
Right. I think the big thing is the fact that he said, it said gay. If they just said Mr. West Virginia, it would be no problem. So again, it's the fact that they see the word gay, and these West Virginia towns are not big towns. So I guarantee these people know him.
Yeah.
He says he's building these spaces. So it's not like they don't know him, and then they probably also know the fact that he's gay.
Right.
It's just now it's been said out loud.
Right.
And not behind a closed door.
And he may, in fact, not be the only gay in the village. There may be others who are closeted.
I'm sure.
And
1 in 10.
And that's a problem. Exactly. So I have an idea. Why don't we all dress up like strawberry shortcake and crash the festival next year?
Absolutely.
This is probably the first time it's even been broached.
Right.
And a presence
Also
has been
true.
made. So, I encourage him to stay strong, but also realize that he's not just breaking the rules, he's building a foundation that is going to grow from this point on.
And you do make a valid point. We typically see our title holders and from the bar queens all the way up to the national title holders in our pride parades, but you very rarely, if ever, see them in other parades outside Pride. So this is something that is definitely groundbreaking, and I hope he does. And I hope actually that the pageantry system also gets behind him
and
supports him,
sure.
and makes fuss. And maybe, just maybe, because it's very easy to travel around there, that some of the other title holders from the other neighboring states show up as well and make it a float instead of just a car. So that is a big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight. Now let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Rex Rogosch, and let's queer up politics. Trans healthcare survives, for now, in GOP budget battle. The Senate has narrowly passed its version of the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, so narrowly, in fact, that Vice President J.D. Vance had to step in to break the 50-50 tie earlier today. This version of the bill notably does not include the anti-transgender health care provision that were part of the House version passed last month. The House bill would have banned Medicaid, CHIP, and ACA exchange plans from covering gender-affirming care, measures that could have forced many trans people to detransition or go without care altogether. But the Senate parliamentarian ruled last week that those anti-trans provisions didn't qualify under the budget reconciliation rules. That meant they'd need 60 votes to pass, not 51. So Republicans quietly dropped them to move forward. According to independent journalist Aaron Reed and Transix writer Alexandra, those provisions were removed at the last minute. A search of the bill's final text shows no mention of gender-affirming care. Still, the bill has major consequences. The nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office estimates it will add $3.3 trillion to the national debt, mostly due to tax cuts for the wealthy, and force 12 million people off of Medicaid. Out Senator Tammy Baldwin of Wisconsin blasted the bill, saying, quote, "Today I voted against rigging our tax code in favor of the biggest corporations and ultra-wealthy, all on the backs of working families who are just trying to get by and want a fair shot at success. Instead of standing up for these working families, my Republican colleagues jammed through a bill that guts Medicaid, kicks 17 million Americans off their health insurance, shutters rural hospitals, and takes food from families in need. And why? All to rig our already unfair tax code even more to help the rich get richer. I am disgusted," end quote. For the LGBTQ community, this vote brings a sigh of relief, but not a celebration. Gender-affirming care may be safe for now, but the fight for equitable health care isn't over. I mean, this entire bill in general is, the writing was on the wall and we knew that it was coming, and no one, including the Democrats, haven't stepped up to do anything about it. So the fact that it got through is crazy. And we had 3 votes at the very last minute from Republicans that said they weren't going to vote for it and did. Again, I talked about it earlier. Yeah. They talk and talk and talk, and then at the last minute they're afraid of pushback, so they go, okay, fine, I'll sign.
But they also get carve-outs. So,
but those carve-outs don't really help them.
No, I understand it's not worth it, but I mean, Murankowski has claimed that she's gotten a carve-out for her constituents.
Right. It says, you know, her state is safe from not getting, you know, kicked off of some of the health benefits.
Right.
But that
doesn't
protect
justify
her.
it.
It just does. Yeah, exactly. And someone said, you know, we'll just fix it later. Well, it's not coming back later. No. There's nothing to fix. You voted. It's gone. Yes, this is great that somebody stood up and said what you're trying to push through with the trans health rights. You're not going to get the votes, and they knew they're not going to have the votes to get it, so therefore they took it out. You know, again, we've been talking about this for a long time. They're pulling at the lowest fruit, the 1%. Yep. They're saying, hey, we're going after trans people. It's not about the trans people. No. It's about having something that's the 1% of America, but it has the largest kind of target on it, allows them to also sneak in other things.
Right.
Because everyone's going to talk about that. Well, finally somebody stood up and said, no, that's not right. So, I mean, look, it's up for vote again. Right. So we've got to, I personally wrote to not only my representatives, but I actually wrote to every representative of every state that I ever lived in, which was 8 of them.
Wow.
So, and I wrote to all of them and figured out a way to write to them, because some of their websites won't allow you to write to them unless you're in their state or city or jurisdiction. So I pulled up my old addresses and used it.
Wow.
And in my letter, I said, I did say I was a former constituent. But, you know, it was really a way for my voice to be heard to as many people. And I didn't care if the representative was Democratic or Republican.
Good for you.
That's activism. That's activism.
I told them, this is not right.
Yeah, right.
So, you know, and more people need to, you know, start to stand up, because there's a lot of us, we can talk here and you can watch this news program and we can complain about it over the water cooler. But if you're not actually writing to the people that you're voting into office and calling them to talk to them, you know, Kamala Harris just came out and said, hey guys, you need to call this number right now. You know, if you don't do that, the bitching that you're doing right now is no good.
Moot, yeah.
It's a moot point.
And don't forget, there's another march on July 4th.
Yes.
Another protest march. As I like to call it, the bleach blonde, bad-built, butch-body Bill Act will likely be a death sentence for many and will likely do irreparable damage to the country, but at least it keeps a smile on the faces of rotten Russell Vought and his evil coven at the Heritage Foundation. Good for them.
Again, I mean, show up, support, go do the marches, but more than that, please call your representatives if you have a problem with this bill, or any other thing or piece of legislation that they're trying to pass that is against our community and the community at large. And that is a big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight.
Now, let's dive deep into this big LGBTQ story for today. I'm Gregg Shapiro, and let's queer up drag culture. RuPaul's Drag Race All-Stars 11 rumors serve big returns, OG drama, and a season 17 finalist. It's Drag Race deja vu. While All-Stars 10 hasn't even sashayed into its semifinals, the internet is already buzzing with rumors about the next round of queens ready to strut the All-Stars runway. Yes, RuPaul's Drag Race All-Stars 11 is the talk of the town, thanks to sharp-eyed fans noticing the mysterious disappearance of several queens from social media and in-person gigs. You know what that means. Something fabulous is cooking behind the workroom doors. Though nothing is official yet, Reddit sleuths have pieced together what might be the fiercest cast yet. If true, All-Stars 11 will mirror the bracket-style format of Season 10, with 18 queens split into 3 sizzling groups. Bracket 1 kicks off with Acaria C. Davenport from Season 11 and All-Star 6, Dawn and Morphine Love Dion from Season 16, Lucky Stars, a Season 17 finalist, OG legend Morgan McMichaels from Season 2 and All-Stars 3, and Mystique Summers, also from Season 2. Bracket 2 features Carry On and Vivacious from Season 6, Aura Mayari and Selena Estides from Season 15, Crystal Method from Season 12, and the unstoppable Silky Nutmeg Ganache returning for a 4th time after Season 11, All-Stars 6, and Canada versus the World. Bracket 3 brings the heat with Hershey Le Courgette from Season 16, Jasmine Kennedy from Season 14, Joey J from Season 13, Sugarcane from Season 11, Sam Starr from Season 17, and Kennedy Davenport, another 4th-time returnee from Seasons 7, All-Stars 3, and Canada versus the World. As the saying goes, the devil works hard, Kris Jenner works harder, but RuPaul, she works the hardest. Stay tuned, queens. Well, with this, we were talking about entrepreneurship before. RuPaul is truly the ultimate entrepreneur. But with the seemingly never-ending success of Drag Race and its multiple offshoots, maybe RuPaul can bring some of that record of accomplishments and triumph to politics. What do you guys think of a Pete Buttigieg RuPaul ticket?
I mean, I think RuPaul probably has a better chance of getting voted than Pete at this point. I mean, I hate to say this, but you're right. You know, RuPaul has taken something of nothing and turned it into a
gold mine.
Beyond a gold mine. You know, Emmy Award winning, the whole 9. And we have more drag queens popping up than, gremlins getting poured with water after midnight. As a former drag queen and a Drag Race enthusiast myself, I love the new season of All-Stars. I love the bracket. She's keeping it fresh. There's drama already. I'm hoping that, we actually, though, I hate to say this, but I hope we actually get some real performance out of this next season, because it is a reality TV show and it is scripted, and we all know that. And I think, the backlash has become great so far if you follow the current All-Stars. But no, I think I know some of the names that are on there, and it is going to be a very interesting and very drama-filled episode of All Stars.
I just feel like I need a PhD to understand half that list, because, I mean, I have seen the show, I think, once. And since then, I've just kind of, paid my bills, cut the lawn and took care of life. But
Well, come to a viewing party on Friday night with me, and I'll give you all the inside scoop.
wow.
It'll be like RuPaul's Drag Race with subtitles.
Yeah.
What an invitation.
I have to do it with my husband. I have to explain to him what a
Yes.
death drop is and what beating the mug
Well,
is all the time.
I know some of those things, but I mean, that list of participants was a 6-mile read.
Tell me about it.
Well, that is a big LGBTQ story for today. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by subscribing and sharing Queer News Tonight. As a nonprofit LGBTQ media organization, we would like to thank our viewers for supporting our mission to tell the stories of the queer community. We also thank the generous support of Jets Pizza. Jets is the LGBTQ community's most popular pizza in South Florida.
Take a look around these streets. Do you really think we woke up one day and said, yeah, the world needs more pizza? Nah, just a better one. Better, like the world's best pizza, Jet's Detroit-style pizza. Hand-pressed and baked to the thickest, crispiest crunch. You're welcome. Now visit jetspizza.com and save. Click on hot deals for special offers in your area. Jets, better because it has to be.
Those are today's headlines from Queer News Tonight. These anchors represent the best of our LGBTQ community.
If our community is important to you, share this news with your friends and family. Join the conversation on your favorite streaming platform. Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ digital television show in the world that is out of the closet and into the headlines.
We need your support. If our community is to grow and then strive, we must tell our stories and bring them to the attention of the broader world. This is the only place in the world that tells these types of LGBTQ stories in motion and sound. That is the passion of Hotspots Magazine, Happening Out Television Network, and Queer News Tonight.
I'm your anchor, Rex Rogosch, and on behalf of these LGBTQ reporters, the anchors of Queer News Tonight, including Gregg Shapiro and Buddy Frey, we will see you daily at 8 p.m. To our LGBTQ world, we hope you will join us by embracing love, generosity, bravery, be transformative, and queer. Good night.
Good night.